Butler, the everyday medium, and I have fished out from local Atlanta here the most incredible guest that I have loved and followed for a long time, and this is Pam Gould.
Hello.
She is an herbalist, an amazing grandma's medicine, professional?
Well, I don't know about professional, but it's medicine that everybody can do at home.
I love that saying. And we're going to talk to you today about how to stay well in winter. That's going to be the big take home. So stay in your seat or wherever you are right now, because I got some housekeeping notes first. And I first want to say that we've got permission to do a free viewing of The Creative Play of Consciousness, which is the movie that I'm in, yay, on January 26th at the Center for Love and Light. And if you want to be there, please head over to my website at jamiebutlermedium.com and reserve your ticket. You got to reserve it, guys, because space is kind of tight, so get in there quick. Oh, and bring your pillow and popcorn. I think that's the most important thing to bring, right?
Of course, yeah.
Is somebody whispering wine, beer, champagne? Bring it. It's okay. Just, take care of yourself driving home. Anyways, I digress. We have a few other classes and give backs that are happening on our end, like February 9th. I'm doing a give back for the Love and Light Institute, which is our nonprofit over here. And the class is it my imagination or my intuition? So if you guys really want to learn the difference between the two, that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about. So come, give me your questions. Let's hash this thing out and put it to bed finally. Put it to rest. You still with me? Good. I also have a public channeling February 17th. So please show up for that. It's going to be Unraveling the Knot. And there's so much more that goes with that, but I will let the spirits explain it to you, and I will just get out of the way right now. But before we start, Pam is now doing her own private classes, and you do this at your home around the kitchen table?
Yes, so the series is called Around the Kitchen Table, and the whole point of that is that it's just really intimate and small, and we're all looking for community, and so it's a way to really hang out with probably some very like-minded people who are there for the same reason, to educate themselves about whatever the topic happens to be. And I just wanted something that was very low-key, but still educational and still full of knowledge. So you go home feeling like you're really empowered with whatever the topic is. So.
And Lumineers, you'll see how Pam teaches. It is hands-on. As you can see, everything is tangible. I first met her when she came and rented a space, our event space here at the Center for Love and Light. And I remember thinking, God, I need to learn everything she has in her head. Like everything, which is...
That's very sweet.
It's never going to happen.
Because I
think you're endless. I always see you as knowing so much, and you're so casual and passionate about it. You're like, oh, I love this, touch it, smell it. You would pass it around, and I was just in awe. I think if elementary school and like all the schools were taught this way, I'd be a straight A student.
Well,
I would not.
And that is kind of the interesting thing to me about what we're talking about today is this is what people used to do to stay well. This is, it's been coined grandma's medicine because in lots of kitchens around the world and for many, many years, this is what you'd see on your kitchen counter as the weather started turning. And yeah, this is herbalism. This is plant medicine, but really it's very tangible, and you don't have to go to school to get a fancy degree to know about it. Most of these things are in your kitchen cabinet or your refrigerator or at your local farmer's market. And so we're just going to talk about some things that you probably already know that maybe you didn't realize how powerful they were for your immune system and keeping you healthy, and then maybe a couple things that you don't know, because we want to make sure you go, ooh, I want to get some of that. And
Well, I think it's true too that we're not really passing down this knowledge. Because in my world, I'm already thinking, what is that, Pam? You think I can do this all on my own and I don't need a degree? Because I'm thinking, okay, I have to hire her to come to the center and teach this long certification, which I've already started the begging on it. Because, guys, if you like what you see today, Pam does private consultations. She does them here in Virginia Highlands in Atlanta, but she also does it via Skype. So if you're sitting where you're sitting and you're like, oh my God, I love the way she's looking at that gut health or how to stay well, or even you specialize in Lyme.
Well, I do see a lot of people that are struggling with tick-borne illnesses and helping guide them through how to be well.
Wait, tick-borne illness, so there's more than just Lyme? Like there's different...
So Lyme is just one of the infections that you can get, from a tick is what most people understand. But there are other co-infections that usually go with them. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that will be one of my upcoming classes.
Yes, it is.
Learning about Lyme, because honestly, it's in all 50 states, and it's in most every country, and it doesn't matter if you hear that it's not in your area. It most probably is, and that's part of what I am motivated to do, is to educate people on the correct information.
Because on top of Pam teaching about Lyme and everything else, your next class is February 23rd.
Right.
That's around the kitchen table, but the focus is on...
Marvelous menopause.
Marvelous menopause.
Because that is where I am in life, and I did not think that I would struggle with some of the things that are typical, because I'm an herbalist and I know I'm educated on some of the things to do, and yet it happened to me too. So it does happen to most women, and most women have the attitude of, this is awful, and they just want to get through it. And
they labor through it and
right.
tough it out, right?
And so it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. And so my intention is to just share some strategies on how to maybe shift that perspective of it and come through it a little more eloquently, we'll just say.
Well, with herbal
struggle.
flying colors.
Mm-hmm, exactly, yeah. Herbal flying colors.
Colleen behind the camera is falling apart with my ill-humored comments.
But, with that class, as with this class, and just my style in general, is I consider myself a very practical herbalist. Mm-hmm. So I want to make it so that you understand what it is you're dealing with, and you feel empowered to take control of your own health and not hand it over to somebody else, which sometimes you have to do, but most of the time you don't. So
I have to tell you, I took a class of yours years ago, and I bought this tincture you made. So you run Earth Mama Remedies, that's your baby, and she had this tincture about flu. It was like a flu season, a flu remedy. And I remember thinking, yeah, I've heard about herbs, and I've heard about all what were the tiny little white pills you put in your mouth and they dissolve? Oh my goodness,
Homeopathics?
The
Those are
homeopathic
homeopathics,
remedies, right? So I've heard of complementary wellness, remedies and things like that, and I've never seen them firsthand work, like really work. I've seen them help, I've seen them assist, and I've seen that do really well, but I've never seen one just work. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy that flu thing. I took that flu remedy that season. My whole house fell apart with the flu. My kids, my husband. Guess who never got it? It was the strangest thing. And do you know I still have the empty bottle? It sits there because I stare at it and I go, I gotta call Pam, I gotta get more of this. I don't know if she's making this or not anymore.
Yeah.
It worked. I didn't get it, and I care provided for them. I was in their fever. I was kissing them and holding them, and I never got it. And that was the only thing I did different.
Mm. Well, that doesn't surprise me, but
It certainly surprises me.
yeah.
It was my first real hand
Tangible.
experience that these herb mixtures were kicking ass, and it was a real remedy. It wasn't a help.
Well, and one of the things I find exciting is that I do feel like more people are turning to herbal medicine. I don't know if it's the media. I don't know if it's being fed up with other things that possibly aren't working as well as they used to. But I do feel like people are paying more attention and realizing that there is value to it, and it's not just hocus pocus stuff. And so that's exciting to me because it does work. And a lot of times people, one of the herbs we're going to talk about today is echinacea, mainly because a lot of people have heard of it. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people are not taking it the right dose. So you can take an herb for the right reason, but not be dosing yourself appropriately And so it's not going to be effective. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today.
Really, in general, are we taking too much or too little?
Too little.
Really?
Generally speaking, well, and there are certain herbs that you do have to be very dose aware of. They're very dose, they're called low dose herbals. But in general, especially in this world that we're talking about, cold and flu, staying, well through the winter, you have to, you want to have a pretty high amount in your body. So, the winter time is when you're going to see a rise in upper respiratory things, the crud, the cough.
Yeah, I think we've already done it twice now in the office.
Yeah. So it's just naturally when the weather starts changing, it's going back and forth. Here in Atlanta last week we had snow and ice, and tomorrow it's going to be 70 degrees. So
it's a trip.
When you have that weather and it's going back and forth, your immune system gets kind of whacked out. It's not sure. It's just working harder.
Oh my God, it's like our plants outside. They're whacked out right now, not knowing anything.
Yeah.
So our immune system can respond similar to that.
Yes. Because it's working harder. It's trying to figure things out, Because also what comes with that is when it's winter time. So if and I know you have viewers all over the world, so you might have viewers that are in temperate climates, right?
Yeah.
But in general, if you act like it is outside, so here in Atlanta, for example, it's supposed to be cold. Most of the time it's cold. So when it's cold out, all the plants go into the ground, everything goes inward, it's darker during the day. Well, we are really supposed to be doing the same thing. It's a time in the year on the calendar where we're supposed to go inward and rejuvenate and be a little more quiet in life and re-nourish ourselves from the busy rest of the year. And that is really what we're supposed to be recharging. And then what happens is, because we're so busy,
yeah, I was going to say, I don't think
that's just not going to happen.
Timing, schedule, culture,
Right.
things like that aren't going to let us.
Right. So your body is not in sync with nature. Whereas in the summertime when it's super hot out and everything's out, all the plants, everything, that's when we're supposed to be out too, out, action all the time. But now it's supposed to be a little more hunkered down around the fire with the cup of tea, catching up on our reading and a little quieter. And so...
My kids are totally unaware of what winter really is.
Yeah, so what happens is you're out. A lot of times you're out in the cold, you're not even dressed appropriately, and there are more germs out. People are wiping their nose, and things are dripping, and it's just how it is. And some of the foundational health things that we forget about are still important. So the very first thing before you even look at herbal things is you have to look at...
Probably not wiping your nose like this.
Not going like this.
It's not like this.
Maybe the inside of the shirt, I don't know, at least.
Flip it. Sometimes I tell my kids to turn to the inside of the shirt and wipe their
That's
face
good
if
mothering.
they need it. And
I like
then
that.
It lays down on them.
Yeah, it's good mothering. Washing your hands. You probably tell them to wash your hands,
Big
right?
time. Wash your hands.
That's important.
Wash your nails.
Wash your nails, yeah. That's good. What you don't want to do when you're washing your hands all the time, though, is you want to try to stay away from the antibacterial soaps.
Okay, why?
Because unless you're in like a high illness area, like you're in a hospital and there's, contagious diseases and there's pretty serious things, or even if you're in your house and your whole house goes out, right? Maybe then you might use antibacterial soaps. But other than that, we actually what it does is it's stripping your hands, right? And you want a certain level of bacteria you want some good bacteria in your body because it actually fights the bad bacteria.
So is that like stripping the good bacteria out of your gut?
Yes.
And then you're left with the bad stuff? Or
What happens is the bad stuff can take over, right? So the good guys fight the bad guys.
So we have good guys on our hands?
We do, yeah. And so it's interesting. I always look at like the mainstream media outlets to see what they're saying because most people pay attention to those.
Yeah.
And ABC News did this whole article in July about something they call the hygiene hypothesis. And what they're saying is that our world now is so clean. Kids, from when they first come up, we're so scared that our kids are going to get sick or, get into something not supposed to, that they're so clean that they're actually getting sicker, because when you're very little and as you get older,
Oh no.
your body is supposed to be fed with good bacteria that you get from your food, from mucking around in the dirt. You pick up bacteria from the dirt, and that helps build antibodies in your system, so that your immune system recognizes them and doesn't freak out at things that aren't necessarily such a big problem.
So here's where snacking on dirt or doing a little bit of that is actually good
It's
for
actually
you.
good, yeah. Let them go play in the dirt and get all mucky, and it's actually very good. It'll keep you healthy. So, you do want to be washing your hands, because germs come in, generally speaking, through your mouth and your nose and your eyes, and we all do it. We all wipe, that just habit of.
Yeah, what? I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
Done.
it's just something that this time of year, just be washing your hands. And if you do happen to get sick, make sure you change out your toothbrush, because the germs live on the bristles.
So we have hand washing, recycling.
Stress. You want to, stress. There's all these scientific reports that talk about, and we all know that stress is linked to your health in general, and that it just dampens the immune system. So that crosses lots of.
You know what company
avenues.
I would like to start? Like paired up with Uber. I would like to have an office that is just stress-free. It has little rooms. You can just hang out and read. No kids. None of your dishes to do. No laundry. No nothing. Uber comes to grab you for an hour, drops you off, and you get to be in the room for an hour, and then Uber picks you up and takes you home. Right? There's your dose, your like medicinal dose of a stress-free moment. Wouldn't
like
that be
it.
like a great company idea?
Yes.
Like we have room to do more here, but how
It's
other
endless.
ways, like stress-free? Like I guess there's many ways to do it.
Yeah, and then you could have, because most people are they don't sleep enough.
Sleep rooms.
Sleep rooms, yeah. So you could put your sleep rooms in your because that too, you want to be getting optimal or at least adequate sleep, which is really about 8 hours. Most people don't get that, and these are all things that affect your immune system,
Yeah.
right? So we're going to be watching our hands, we're going to be watching our stress, we're going to be getting good sleep, we're going to be living within the season of winter, whatever that means, as best we can, being aware of it at least. And then your nutrition, which is always the foundation of what I talk about, because it all starts with your nutrition, truthfully. And in the winter time is when we want to be eating really dense, nourishing, warming foods. And cooking with roots in particular, they actually thicken your blood a little bit, so when it is cold out, it helps keep your heat in. So, chicken soup, there really is something to it being medicinal. My grandmother would be so happy that I say that.
Yay!
It is true. It is true. So those are just really, foundational things of every day staying well.
So, is chocolate or hot chocolate on that list of being like thick, dense, yummy things to eat when it's cold? Is there any medicinal remedy to chocolate?
Absolutely. Yes. Chocolate is
I'm listening,
very
yes.
medicinal, especially the darker the chocolate.
Yes.
Chocolate's considered a bitter. It was the food to the gods for the Aztecs. So, yes, indulge in your hot chocolate, but without the sugar.
Without just the dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate, yeah. Some
A cacao drink,
milk.
please,
Mm-hmm.
if we can say so. I love it. I got Jessie now. Throwing that away.
Yeah. So the other thing is that if you're one of the foundations that will really tax your immune system is sugar, and you do want to try. I mean, everybody has heard that by now.
Everybody's heard it, but can we define what sugar is? Because there's a lot of sugar in fruits, fructose. There's sugars in some vegetables that are really sweet. Do you mean that too? Do you mean carbs that turn into sugar, like sugar across the board?
So
Or just that white stuff?
Yeah, I'm a practical, as I said at the beginning, I'm a practical herbalist. So what I'm talking about is refined sugar. Healthy sugar that come from fruits and vegetables and, limited carbs. We're a carbaholic society, and in general, we live on breads and pastas and rices.
I thought that was the Italians that live on breads and pastas. We do it more.
We actually do. Well, I don't know about more, but it's definitely a part of our culture. So, one glass of orange juice, which a lot of people when they're sick, they'll grab their orange juice thinking it's really healthy and helping their immune system. It has the equivalent of 5 teaspoons of sugar. And that is not healing. In fact, what you could be doing is creating more mucus in your body, which is not what you want to be doing. So there are other things to reach for if you're not feeling well, and orange juice is really not one of them. And fruit juices as well. Everyone's on this fruit juice crave,
Oh, really?
They go and they get their fruit juices and gotta go to the fruit bar, the juice bar. And, whereas I don't ever say no to anything, period. There's a lot of sugar. Fruit juice is really just soda without the bubbles. So it has that much, depending on what you put in it. If you're a juicer, try to make them vegetable juices with a little bit.
I was about to say, what about those vegetable ones that I love so much that have a little bit of blueberry or acai?
Great. But the other way around, where it's all the fruit with maybe a little bit of green, that's probably out of balance.
God, that is the easiest way I can trick my kids into getting like a pound of kale in them. It's like crazy. They love it so much. And they like to say how gross it looks.
Yeah. And then really the last thing is that, a sense of well-being is really good for your immune system. A feeling of feeling loved and being part of a community that supports you and having connections that are, important, and having a feeling of purpose in your life. Those all affect your well-being more than just the mind, on the body as well. So
I love you, Lumineers. Thank you for being there. It gives me purpose and community. That's why I'm giving my gratitude. You guys rock.
Yeah.
I keep staring at all of this. I'm like a kid inside. I'm like, can I touch that now?
Yes.
Or is that not right?
So those are just the foundations, and I just think it's important because people think, how do I say well? And you really do have to think about those things.
You have to think about all of them.
Right. So there's 2 ways to look at cold and flu, for example. And if I'm very simplistic, I'm going to think about the things that we do before we're sick. Like, I want to make it through to spring and not get sick. What do I do, right?
You take her flu tincture. Totally good.
That's very sweet. Well, so what we're talking about is, battening down the hatches a little bit. And I like to think of it as like putting your storm windows up at your house if you have them.
I love that.
It's like you're just trying to add that added layer of support for your body so that it just stays strong. So that's what, in a sense, it's like tonifying your body. It's making it a little bit stronger. So some of these remedies, all of these remedies actually, for most part, I mentioned earlier, are things that our elders used to do. They would, at the end of fall, the very first sign of cool weather, they would start setting these up because they'll take a couple weeks, some of them, to set before you press them out. So it's just what they did as part of their habits, their daily habits. And the very first one that I could not talk about this without talking about garlic. Because garlic, and I actually made this morning, so this goes to show you that you don't have to have a lot of time. Garlic is, so there's an herbal sage in my world. Her name's Rosemary Gladstar, and she's one of the grand poobahs of the Western herbal world. And I adore her for lots of reasons, but her work is very approachable. And what she says, if she could only have one herb in her kitchen, it would be garlic, because it has so many uses. And it's nicknamed as good as 10 mothers. That's what
garlic's nickname is, as good as 10 mothers.
Which, if you're Jewish, that could be a lot, right? Which I am, so I can say that.
Yes,
but there's truth to that, right? But if you smell it, so all this is chopped raw garlic, covered in honey. And every herb has what's known as an energetic. So when it goes into your body, it's going to react in a certain way based on its properties. And garlic is known to be hot and spicy, just in general.
Yes, I would
agree. It has a natural affinity for the lungs and the stomach. So regardless of what else it's going to do, it's going to pay special attention to those areas. You don't even have to do anything. It just knows to do that. So what I'll do is I'll set up a garlic honey. Well, I did it this morning, as I said. But if I'm thinking ahead,
She's putting a spoon in it, guys.
Yeah, I'm putting a spoon in it.
And it's like chunky garlic.
Yeah.
It's not smooth, baby fine, smushed, minced, whatever that's called. It's chunky.
It can be, right? So what I'll do is I'll set this up, and then depending on what's happening around me, I'll just take a spoonful and I'll gulp it. I won't chew it.
Did you swallow that whole?
Yeah. And it doesn't taste bad. You taste... I invite you to try some.
I accept your invite.
You taste a hint of honey. Of garlic.
I thought I would cheat and just kind of get some of the garlic off the spoon, but this is no go. It's chock full of garlic.
And you can do that. You can let it sit.
Oh my god.
You can let it sit and just swallow it, like gulp it down. It tastes good, I think. But you'll have to let me know. Don't chew it.
I didn't chew it.
What do you think?
Well, I only taste the honey.
Right. But you get a hint of garlic. Right?
There's a little bit at the end. But that's
it's
way
surprisingly
better than
good.
It. Because I don't put garlic in my meals and stuff like that because it's really overpowering to me. So I can just swallow it whole.
That's exactly what you do.
And my tummy can handle that just fine?
Well, it depends. You're
We're about to find out, people. Give it 20 minutes. Countdown, Siri, 20 minutes.
It can upset the stomach if you take a lot of it, right? Mm-hmm. But you're also wrapping it in honey.
And so the honey helps.
It does help,
They're
right?
like friends in this.
Take it with food if you have a sensitive stomach. And it's naturally antiviral. It's naturally antimicrobial.
Okay, so you do this every day?
Sometimes I'll go through phases.
But it's good. Like,
absolutely.
Totally fine. Like, cruise to the kitchen in the morning, you're like, oh, can't wait for my coffee or my hot tea and my spoonful of garlic.
Right?
Right? You
That's
can
exactly
do it like
right.
that?
I'd probably do the garlic first.
I probably would too.
Yeah, and then go. It's really specific for sore throats. It's great for strep. You can put a little hot water in it and then gargle and then swallow it. It is wondrous, and you can get your kids to do this. I know you think you can't, but even if you don't think ahead and do this, all you would do is take an actual clove of garlic and you'd chop it. You'd put it on your spoon. You'd cover it in honey. You'd bribe your kid the first time. If you take this and just gulp it down, whatever it happens to be. And then, believe it or not, they're going to start bragging. When they see that all their friends are dropping like flies and they're not because of the garlic honey.
Really?
This is from experience.
This whole time, like, this is something I can do. I confess, guys, I'm not great in the kitchen. I can bake, but then that's all the carbs and everything, like we just mentioned before, addicted to carbs. But I am not a knife user, cooker thing. That's my husband. Mm-hmm. But I can do that.
It's very, very simple. So, highly recommend it. And, if you've ever taken a clove of garlic and mashed it and you see that oil that comes off, that's the volatile oils. That's the medicine. That's what you're...
Oh, I was going to say, is that the stuff you want to avoid?
No,
and you're like, that's the medicine.
That's the medicine. So your lungs can very easily absorb the volatile oils from garlic, and it's very healing to, like, congested and mucky and icky. If you're any kind of congestion that you start feeling, it's gonna just work like magic.
Dude, I think we're gonna keep this in the refrigerator. Do we keep it in the fridge?
Or
on the table?
So let me start, as we start talking about honeys, you don't want to give it to any child that's under a year old. So that's just the general recommendation from the medical board. Some people say 2 years old, so that's your discretion. I've used it with children over a year, and I do keep all my honeys in the fridge.
You do?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes. So the other little thing I want to tell you about, because earaches are very common too at this time of year.
They're big in our household.
So this is so effective and so easy for people that don't even cook. You take your garlic, you peel it, right? So you peel it, you mash it, You even let it sit for a few minutes so that that volatile oil comes out. You put it in a pan, you cover it in olive oil.
Like just a cooking pan.
Just a cooking pan.
Okay.
You gently heat it for 10 to 15 minutes. You don't want it to get super hot. You don't want to boil it. And then you strain it, and you want to strain it so that you don't have any garlic pieces in there. So I always recommend with a cheesecloth, so you be sure it's just the oil going through. And then you put the warm oil in the ear canal.
Yeah.
And it's going to feel so good if you have an earache. And you very well might be able to stave off an ear infection.
You know, we bought some of the on-the-shelf garlic eardrops.
Yeah.
And it totally dried up my kids' ear infections.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal.
I was going to say you can use it for ear infections, but right now we're talking about preventative. But
Sorry, yes.
No, you're good.
When we had full-on infection.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't seem like, really, I'm putting garlic oil in my ear, but
Right.
it is naturally, garlic all by itself is antibacterial, it's antimicrobial, it's antifungal, it's anti everything that you're trying to get rid of in the winter, basically.
Can we pass it around to them?
Yeah,
Or?
of course.
Oh, we have extra spoons in
The
the
other
kitchen
thing
too.
that you can do with garlic,
Lord.
that's especially for kids, and I did this when my kids were little, is you make garlic lemonade. I didn't call it garlic lemonade, I called it spicy lemonade. And they're like, ooh, spicy lemonade. Because you make it like lemonade, but you add garlic.
But what about the sugar?
No, you don't add sugar. So you're adding water, garlic, lemons, and a little honey if you want. So no refined sugar.
No refined
honey.
sugar.
Yeah. So that's a way for just to get in there. And believe it or not, you don't taste the garlic.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Try this at home.
Oh
You're
my
gonna be
God,
surprised.
Lumineers, you guys need to write back in and tell us how it went for you. What was that first spoonful of honey and chunky garlic like? And how was your garlic lemonade? I'm making that garlic lemonade. I'm going to do that.
So the next thing, so I started at the things that might scare you, right? Now it's just going to get better and better, Jamie. So the next thing I want to talk about is ginger, because lots of people are familiar with ginger. They use it, if they eat sushi, but it's so medicinal. And a lot of people might be familiar with it, like if they're going on a boat and they get seasick, and but it goes way beyond that. And one of the things I always do is I set up, this is fresh ginger honey, and the reason I left it like this is because unlike the garlic that stayed thick and will stay thick, this will almost get really, it's very watery.
It is?
Yeah.
Why?
Because of all the water that's in the ginger, it's going to...
I didn't know it had that much water in the
Yeah.
ginger. I just always thought of ginger as being dry.
So
Look
ginger
at that. See how chunky it is.
is very...
Yes.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
And so what you do for this is you just take a bell jar. Doesn't even have to be it can be any kind of jar really, and just chop up as much fresh ginger as will fit. I don't peel it or anything because I think
You leave all this skin on?
I leave all the skin on because I just feel like there's value to it, and I just do. You can peel it if you want to, and then I just cover it with honey until it gets to the top.
Hey, can I ask, what kind of honey do you use?
So I always use raw, unfiltered honey, and that's a good question because a lot of people don't realize that there's a big difference between the honey that our friends the bees make and what you might see at your local supermarket.
Yeah.
So you want to get honey that's in its raw state because then it's retained all its nutrients.
And are you about to tell me that you swallow that whole?
I don't swallow that whole. I actually do strain it out, and that's what this is.
Oh, wow.
And I'm gonna let you taste this one first because it is. You're gonna love this. This one's so delicious.
Really?
I think so. Do you like ginger?
Nope.
Oh, well then here we go. This is a great test.
It is.
Here we go. I'll give you a little bit.
I always try it because I think that I really need to like it, and I never do.
So tell me what you think.
All right, I didn't gag.
Is that an improvement? Let's taste
That's a
this
huge
then.
improvement.
Okay.
Why is that good?
Well, it's sweet, right? So anybody that that's
It's
delicious.
really good.
Isn't that good? Mm.
And
Yeah.
it's not burning my mouth like
Because it mellows. So soaking the ginger and the honey mellows the flavor of it.
guys, yum.
So ginger is also what's known as a diaphoretic, and that is a term that means it's going to help you sweat. A lot of these herbs are going to, what we're doing is we want everything open. So if anything does get in, the body
can
can
get it
release
out.
it. Exactly. So diaphoretic is something that makes you sweat.
So if I'm thoroughly sweating in a nervous situation, I can just blame it on the ginger.
There you go.
Oh no, guys! I had ginger
It's
early
the ginger.
this morning.
It's the ginger, and ginger has been used for hundreds of years in the Orient. It's in over 50% of their formulas because it also helps other herbs move through the body. So it's sort of like a catalyst for it's a helper. It's a really good helper.
Ginger's a good guy.
Yeah. And what I'll also like to do is I'll take ginger raw and chop it up and put it in a pot and cover it with water and put the lid on and bring it to a boil and then reduce it to a simmer and just let it simmer for 10 or 15 minutes and make a nice strong ginger tea. And then drink on that, because it's, first of all, delicious. It's going to, invigorate the immune system. I might add some of my ginger honey to
You
it.
straight up drink that ginger water?
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, you're going to love this next one, Jamie.
What are you doing?
I say that facetiously. So this is known as fire cider. And it's been used by herbalists for many, many years. And the original recipe that I know of is from Rosemary Gladstar, who I mentioned earlier.
Right.
And basically it's a apple cider vinegar tonic or tincture. It's really a tincture. What tincture means is herbs that have been soaking or macerating in some kind of menstruum or liquid to extract its medicinal properties, right? So basically you have an apple cider vinegar tincture here, or tonic, or salad dressing, or whatever you want to call it. And so what we've done is we've taken some known pungent herbs. There's horseradish, there's ginger, there's garlic.
She just listed 3 things I don't put in my meal.
I also have thyme in there because thyme's one of my favorite winter herbs.
Is that what this is here?
That is what that is. That's thyme.
It smells so good.
Yeah, it smells good, and it's just a really great overlooked herb, I think. But that's what it does is it livens up your immune system. It wakes it up, right?
Now, is there a percentage of what you chop? Is it all equal amounts, like a cup of this, a cup of that, a cup of that, and you just go for it?
There are a million different recipes.
You can get online and just research fire cider.
Exactly.
And it'll go, absolutely, that's what that is.
Yeah.
I've never heard of fire cider. I've noticed everything is glass. This is plastic.
Yes. So if you're making your fire cider at home, you want to use a plastic lid because apple cider
Really?
vinegar is corrosive.
Oh, so you don't use the metal lids.
Exactly. Or if you do use a metal lid, you put a piece of wax paper under there or something so that it doesn't come in contact with it.
I would never even thought of that.
So what I will do is I'll
She's
let this...
methodical and amazing. That's why
No, thank you. You are
Wanna
too.
ask.
So I'll chop everything up and I'll cover it in apple cider vinegar. And I guess I should back up for just a minute and say what we're talking about here is known as folk medicine in that there's no real measurements, right? I'm saying a little bit of this, a little bit of that, pour it till it's topped off. That's one way of doing it, and in my opinion, the most accessible. There are other ways of making medicine, and even these examples that are very methodical, where you have a certain amount of herbs to a certain amount of water, and and then you do
like
this.
a recipe.
Like
That's what I'm used to
Yes,
because
and we will talk about one of those. We'll get there.
Okay.
But even then, you don't have to. But these in general, you can just have fun with it. There are people that make this, for example, with oranges and limes, right?
Really?
In fact, I think I have a lemon in here. Yeah.
You know, the kind person inside of me wants to go, Pam, that is so pretty. Look at all the things in there. It's gorgeous.
And there's turmeric in there too. See, I'm remembering what I put in here. There's fresh turmeric, which is, I don't have a picture.
That's what gives it the color?
That's what makes it yellow. So this one in particular will stain. So if you use turmeric, be sure and just know that it'll stain your fingers and it'll stain your counter if you spill a batch like I did. You want to clean it, which is why it's kind of thick, like, yeah. So just, you know, be mindful. But turmeric is a natural anti-inflammatory. It's so healing, you know, so I included it because there were some at the local farmer's market. So what I will do is I'll let this sit for 3 to 4 weeks. Wow. And every day I'll, you know, I have it on my windowsill and I'll go by and I'll shake it. You know, I'll take it and I'll shake it, just kind of mix it up.
There's no song singing or anything like that?
You can sing a song. It likes it, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and then this has actually only been sitting for 2 weeks. So what you're about to taste is only 2 weeks old.
So it's like a baby.
It's a baby, so it would be even stronger.
It looks like something that comes from a baby.
It would be even stronger. And what I will do is then when it's ready, I'll strain it out and then I bottle it. And I'll mix this with some olive oil to make my salad dressing. Or I'll sprinkle it on my greens, I cook my greens, or on my rice, or what I usually will do is take some off and mix it with honey so that I left it in its pure form so you could really taste.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You can really taste what it's all about. But if you like it a little more mellow, you can mix it with your ginger honey. You can mix it with regular honey.
Hey, I don't think it's fair that one drinks alone.
I'm happy to.
Great.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here we go.
Do you like apple cider vinegar in general?
I will do that one, yes.
Okay, that's this. Just think it's apple cider vinegar.
Okay. Just slam it back?
Or you can sip it.
Wow, Pam, that's strong.
Should I warn you?
That's really strong. Woo!
So that's only 2 weeks, right? So now
That gets stronger?
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna pour you a little thyme tea.
Woo!
But imagine that you're congested.
Oh my God, you would not be congested after
Right?
that.
So imagine that you've got
But you know,
a head full of snot.
oh my God, I can feel it traveling.
Right?
But it's, oh
She
shit.
can't talk.
Because I didn't gag or anything. That's huge.
So that's
a weird thing to say, guys, but I'm quite sensitive when it comes to spice and things like that, and so it always surprises me when there's things
You're being
like
brave
this
then. You're being very
that
brave.
that I try and I don't have a reaction to, so it makes me go, wait a second.
So if you smell that first, you can smell the thyme.
Oh God, guys, I wish you could just, can you reach through and smell it? That's incredible. I can still feel it, Pam.
Yeah.
Wow, it packs a punch.
It packs a punch. So if you take this preventatively, right, just a jigger, right, that's an actual measurement, like a jigger on your vegetables. So if you put this on your greens when you cook them, it actually makes the nutrients of your greens more bioavailable to your body. So not just this,
What?
any vinegar.
Really?
But instead of reaching for your white vinegar or even your apple cider vinegar, which is what this is, why not doctor it up with herbs is how I look at things. So cooking with it can make the nutrients in your food more available.
Before we go any further,
This is not a strong.
Cheers.
Cheers.
thank you. This is great.
So if you were to take this
Yeah.
at the first sign of being sick, the first sign of being congested, what it does is it clears things. So if viruses and bacteria are trying to get in, it's going to move them out.
Yeah, I get bronchitis easily. I had walking pneumonia once. Ever since then, my lungs tend to be the weaker of
So
the
these
system.
are all things for you, honey.
Really?
Yeah. So everything we've talked about, well, the few things we've talked about, because it's so exciting. The garlic
should totally do this.
and the ginger and the fire cider, those are all really spicy, pungent things to get things moving, right?
Yes.
But now I'm going to talk to you about my absolute favorite must have in the winter is elderberry. And
Oh, is that what that is?
Are you
Just
familiar with it?
looks like syrup.
Because it can be syrup. That's why it's so easy to take, because it's delicious and it is a syrup, and you can put it on your pancakes or by the tablespoon. You will have no problem taking this, or your kids will have no problem taking this. So the elder plant the whole thing is medicinal, but mostly the berries and the flowers are used. And this syrup is made from the berries. And the berries are a fantastic antiviral herb. And they look like these are dried. Some people might live where they actually grow, and they do grow like in North Georgia. And if you can make fresh elderberry syrup, oh my gosh, you have no idea. It's nectar. But you can get it dried. And so I just went to Health Unlimited, which is our local herb store here.
We love you guys.
And
Big time.
got some elderberry. This is what it looks like. It's little teeny berries.
They kind of look like seeds.
They're berries, but they're teeny tiny. Or if you don't live locally, I always like to also mention Mountain Rose Herbs, because they're a great herb company. Regardless of where you live, they'll deliver to you. So elderberry is nicknamed the medicine chest of the country people, because it's just, first of all, elders, the elder plant grows in the country, generally speaking, and they use it for everything. It's just, I can't wait to have you taste
Can
this.
we use it for moonshine? This smells very good.
It has a long history of use, especially in North America and in Europe.
But I'm supposed to raise my cup again? I'm getting weary
Here.
of what you're about to serve me now.
No, you're going to love this. Here, why don't you hold the spoons on the spill it.
So dainty having them in the spoons.
Here, try that first, and then see if you would like.
Oh, it smells good. Oh my god, that's like candy.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that delicious? Yeah,
Wow,
so now you
what
won't
a-
mind, right?
What a
Here you go.
what a difference.
So 1 to 3 tablespoons a day of this.
Really?
That's why I saved this for the last. I'm just like, okay, I'm back.
I'm in this. What are we doing now, Pam?
Yeah,
Wait.
1 to 3 tablespoons a day of this
Yeah.
preventatively is just going to ward off whatever is coming, whatever's brewing out there.
This tastes similar to what your flu
Because it was
tincture
in there.
thing- It was?
Yes. Yes.
Amazing.
Elderberry. So it's one of the most studied herbs around. And there's a product out there called Sambucol, which comes from, I think it's made in Israel. And it's a great product. It's an elderberry syrup, but you'll pay a lot for it. And it's just so much better when you make it fresh and cheaper and easy. And all you do to make this syrup is you take your elderberries.
You took this, the
I
dry.
took those dried elderberries.
Yeah.
And so, depending on where you look, you'll see different ratios, but the ratio is 1 part herb, so this is the herb, to 16 parts water. So what that means is for every ounce of herb that I use, I'm going to use 16 ounces of water. And I'm going to make a tea. Okay? That's what we're going to do. We're going to make a tea. So I took 4 ounces of herb. Now I have to do my math.
60.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not very good at math. I use a calculator. And whatever that is in water, 4 times 16 is 64, right? So 64 ounces of water. I put them in a pot together. And what I do is, because it's dried, I let it sit for a little while, like you would like dried mushrooms or something that you want to reconstitute. I just kind of let it sit for a couple hours or a couple minutes, or not at all sometimes. Depends on how much time I have. So I just want to try and plump it up a little bit. And then I turn the heat on and I bring it to a boil. Once it's at a boil, I turn it down to simmer for 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes.
Are you stirring at all? You're just
No.
letting it go.
I just let it go.
But can I tell you bought
Almost a pound.
almost a pound, and it was around $17 here in Atlanta,
Right.
or 3/4 pound.
And that made 3 of these, 3 sizes of these, and 3 4 to 8 ounce bottles, so a lot.
Wow.
and I use 4 ounces.
How long does this last?
So I'll keep this in my refrigerator, and it should keep about a year. You'll use it up
What?
before. Yeah, you'll use it up
A
before.
year?
Yes. So this is something that a lot of people probably aren't aware of, that I just want to talk about, because go ahead and smell how sweet smelling that is. So this is a root called astragalus.
This is a root?
It's a root. And the reason I'm talking about today, in fact, is because it's very specific for helping the immune system. And in fact, it looks like a tongue depressor, doesn't it?
I was about to say so.
Yeah.
It looks like wood and a tongue depressor.
Yeah. And it smells great.
It smells good.
So it tastes good. And one of its properties, so one of the things I love about working with herbs is they don't usually do just one thing, right? So I'm talking about how it's antiviral and it's antimicrobial and it's this and that. It's lots of things. So you might know something for one reason, but it's doing a lot of other things too, that they don't just do one thing in your body. They're helpful in so many ways.
So
It's an immune modulator.
yeah, I want to know more about that.
Yeah, and so just think of it as tonifying your immune system. So
I kind of have this feeling you're going to tell me just to like rip into
just
it. Or
you can
something.
put
What
it
are
on
you
your
gonna do?
tongue.
You can?
I mean, just you can taste it.
I'm always, I'm waiting for you to do it first.
Yeah,
Is that?
it's delicious. So what is so great about this? Yeah, I wouldn't chew it. It's very barky, but it gives you an idea of what it tastes like. So what I like to do with this, remember at the beginning we were talking about how important it is nutritionally to be making lots of good dense soups.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of throw in your immune herbs like ginger and garlic and onion into your soups along with maybe your chicken. Well, I throw astragalus in there as well. So I'll take 3 to 5 of these and throw them in my soup and just let it cook with everything else. Because, food is your medicine. We've all heard that saying.
I love that saying.
Yeah, and there's truth to it. This is food. Everything we're talking about is food. It's also medicine. And so I throw this in my weekly soup.
Really?
And then I'll take it out.
When you buy it this way, and again, it's called astragalus.
Astragalus.
I've never heard of it, and I've never seen it. So can't go wrong. 43 years old, learning something new.
So sometimes you'll see it like this. Sometimes you'll see it. It'll look like it's called cut. It's like looks like bark. Like little pieces. Sometimes you'll see it in a powder, and the powder is great because if you're a baker, you can put it in your cookies, and your kids will not even know. You won't even know. It'll give it a little sweet edge, like what you're tasting.
Right.
That taste will permeate a little bit. So it'll give it a little. There's no hidden bitterness or anything. And so what's great about astragalus is it works on every level of your immune system. It's a deep immune tonic, but it also helps fortify your surface immune system, which is known as the Chinese call it the Wei Qi, W-E-I. And that is literally your shield to the outside world. So it strengthens your armor to the outside world.
Why isn't this common? Why haven't I seen this?
I think it's pretty common in the herbal world.
It is?
It's common in the herbal world, and it's common in different cultures. So Chinese know about this. This is food for them. This is what they know. It's very foundational. It's also really good for chronic infections. It's good for it's good. It's just good. It's just good.
It's just good.
It's just good.
We're done. That's all you need to know, guys. It's just good.
If you deal with anything in the lungs,
Yeah.
it's very specific for that as well. So I wanted to be sure to tell you about astragalus.
That's cool.
So what if you do get sick, right? So we're talking about all these things, how to not get sick, right? But what if you happen to get sick? Then
Then you really do these things.
That's
when
exactly
you get sick.
right. That is exactly.
Is that
Yeah, that's the gist.
Because I guess in my learning curve where I am in my life right now, I'm still, even though I know about it, I'm not doing preventative healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Though I know about it. I do it with my stress, the washing hands, everything that you mentioned before. But when I do the herbs, I do it as a remedy to something that's already happening.
Right. And the best
I
way.
don't need to do that anymore, do I?
Yeah, no, the best way to, deal with something is to prevent it. and I don't know if you've noticed, but it does seem like the bugs are getting stronger. And when
Yeah.
people get, when you do get something, it's stronger and lasts longer. I don't know if everyone else has noticed that. So it is something to pay attention to. And that kind of leads me into part of, I can't talk about immune system and health without at least mentioning antibiotics in that conversation, because antibiotics are incredibly helpful for the right situations, but there are some concerns in using them in that people are reaching for them for inappropriate reasons, and it's leading to over-prescribing of antibiotics, which does have a knock-on effect for us personally and also globally. So personally, if you take antibiotics inappropriately all the time, one of the things it can do or will do is it will destroy your gut flora or the good bacteria that live in your digestive system that help fight the pathogens or the bad bacteria. That's just a known fact, and your doctor will tell you that. So
Now they will. They didn't say that a while ago,
Right.
but now they do.
now they do, and sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes you have to take an antibiotic, and it's
Right.
appropriate, and you do, and that's why they're there. But apparently, the CDC, which is our local, our national.
Well, for us, it's local.
I was
It
gonna say.
is 3 blocks this way.
Yeah. They said over 1 million kids were prescribed antibiotics last year for a symptom of a sore throat. And that could be for strep, which is a bacterial infection, and antibiotics are appropriate for that. It's an appropriate choice. But a lot of times, it's just a symptom of a viral infection, and that antibiotic is not going to do anything. And then what you're doing, potentially, is weakening your body so that it's not able to fight off the next thing that comes around. Because it's so you want to protect your integrity, and you also want to be mindful that has an effect in the world, because antibiotic resistant strains of bacteria are on the rise. And Harvard Medical said that 23,000 people last year died from the result of being exposed to antibiotic resistant bacteria. So we want antibiotics, and we want them to work when we need them.
So this can help us build a better relationship with antibiotics as well.
Exactly.
Taking better care of ourselves naturally gives us more room to not go straight to antibiotics and use it when it's really necessary.
Right. So these are your tools. These are your at-home tools that you can probably go to your kitchen cabinet and brew up as your first line defense. And fire cider, I think I mentioned, if you take it at the very first sign of cold and
Yes.
flu, it's gonna wake up your immune system, and it's gonna move out, especially if it's in your sinuses. You probably still feel it, and you feel it here, right? Yeah. Garlic. Where's our little garlic powder? Oh, garlic syrup. Oh, that's, garlic, its nickname is nature's penicillin, right? That's how beloved it is in the herbal world. I know you're looking at
Nature's
sort of
penicillin.
Nature's penicillin, yeah. It's, it also, it expels parasites. So if you think you've been exposed, or, it can be a great option for that. It can cause stomach upset, so you have to be careful of that. And I, as you saw, gulp it by the teaspoon, and I'll think nothing of doing that 3 to 5 times a day.
Wow.
Now, if you start having stomach issues, then you just back off, right?
Right.
Take it with food.
This has been extremely helpful. So, in summing it up, preventative health care includes grandma's medicine. It includes the herbs and everything you have in the kitchen. And guys, if you're sitting there watching this and going, that was pretty cool, I'd like to have that for myself, Pam does do personal Skype sessions, so you can be anywhere in the world and talk to her, and she does what in your personal sessions? I think I can let you speak for yourself.
Oh, no, thank you. Well, so most people have some health challenge, and I don't treat disease. What I do is I treat the person. I help figure out what the underlying pattern of imbalance is that's causing the symptoms that's maybe, making you crazy or causing your issues. And so we talk about that and try to work together I basically educate you on different ways
It is. You learn so much.
of shifting that imbalance so that hopefully the symptoms go away, whatever they happen to be.
And guys, you can find her at Pam Gould, GOULD.net. And again, owner of Earth Mama Remedies. They're amazing. I want to thank you so much
Thank
for
you
being
for
here
having
today and
me.
talking about winter
This
wellness.
is so fun.
It is fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lumineers, I'm certainly going to be begging her to come back and do some more show and tell things for us because there's so much to learn. And you are absolutely the most perfect fit for us. We cannot be happier.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Remember, Lumineers, it's not woo-woo, it's true. It's the first time she's heard that one. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
With Jamie, the lighter side. With Jamie, the lighter side. With Jamie.